Epictetus. The majority of insight we get into the teachings of Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, comes from two written compositions, the Handbook and Discourses. Both of these were made by a student of his called Flavius Arrian. The three broad pillars of the Socratic school of thought are skepticism, Epicureanism, and Stoicism, which form the Hellenistic philosophies. Early Stoic thought further branches into physics, logic, and ethics. The Handbook and Discourses, however, deal mainly with ethics and catalyze the movement of Stoic ethics. In this video, I want to discuss the main elements of Epictetus' wisdom mentioned in the works of Flavius Arrian. 1. The goal of philosophy. Man is troubled not by events, but the meaning he gives them. Epictetus. According to Epictetus, everybody should strive to live a virtuous life, consisting of ethics, values, and reason, while being in total accord with nature. Living such a life would ultimately lead to eudaimonia, which when loosely translated means happy or welfare. What he means by living in accord with nature is responding intelligently to one's needs and fundamental duties as a sociable being, while accepting the fate written for oneself as a form of divine intelligence, which only seeks to better the world. Epictetus says that the ills we suffer are a consequence of defective beliefs of what is really good. These beliefs have a cascading effect on our society as a whole and corrupt it from the inside. He metaphorically defines his school as a hospital for students who seek to cure their ailments. This implies that our misconceptions are the root of our troubles, and that we can certainly learn to look past them by undertaking a life of sagacity and philosophy. 2. That which is beyond our control. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. To maintain our moral character, which is also referred to as proheresis, in order to attain eudaimonia, we must understand and demarcate the things in our power and those which are not. With a skewed moral compass and a deluded sense of self and the world, we irreparably damage ourselves. We remain convinced by the notions which are fed to us, such as the pursuit of all things material is good. We consequently impose upon ourselves the anxieties and frustrations that entail such a defective proheresis. The only thing we have in our power is the authority over ourselves. We have an innate sense of things and the brain power to tell good from bad. All external activities are termed as indifference by Epictetus and are not concerned with good or evil, they just happen. Therefore, we must carry ourselves intelligently in life but accept whatever outcome befalls us. 3. Impressions. A Stoic must be investigative by nature. The ability to logically deduce events and outcomes with a certain degree of observation mixed with the sharpness of the mind must be regular practice for all Stoics. Impressions are the mind's way of being aware of something in the world. To use such impressions properly and to one's advantage does not involve getting carried away by them, but to carefully observe, question, and then conclude rationally. If one gives in to the intensity of various impressions, they tend to be angered, irritable, and show haste in reacting, whereas using such impressions properly leads to a composed and level-headed character. 4. The three topoi. Epictetus prescribes three specific disciplines that a student of Stoicism must inculcate within himself. When successfully practiced, these disciplines enable a person to attain the state of eudaimonia. Eudaimonia can be achieved by any rational being. The first discipline, the discipline of desire. When I see a man anxious, I say, what does this man want? If he did not want something which is not in his power, how could he be anxious? Epictetus. This discipline that Epictetus propounded tells us what one should truly consider worthy of desiring in life, and the answer is virtue. Pursuing the indifference will only cause further problems to a person. The second discipline, the discipline of action. This discipline deals with our impulses to act or not to act. It clarifies the things worth acting upon and those impulses which we mustn't give into. The outcomes of events and actions may not necessarily rest within our power, but to pursue a noble set of objectives over another is well within our power. Not living the life that was intended for us by God will result in the loss of eudaimonia. The third discipline, the discipline of assent. The word assent here is spoken in context to impressions. Our minds form various impressions with varying degrees of intensity. Assenting to an impression means concluding that the impression formed is an accurate reflection of how things are and not a fogged imagery of what actually is. We often perceive things to be different from what they truly are, and when this occurs, it damages our logical and cognitive processes, and we turn to irrationality. 5. Belief in God. Epictetus uses the words God and Zeus interchangeably. He justifies the existence of God by what is known as an argument by design and logic. This argument expresses that the existence of a designer is implied because of the evidence of a design. Epictetus says that nature and all beings contained in it are in harmony, and the existence of perfect biological processes required for survival proves that this is not an accidental existence but rather an orchestrated one. He says that we as beings are smaller pieces of the entire consciousness of God, and our minds are fragments of His greater intelligence. Therefore, we must accept the fate which is planned for us and live according to nature and as God intended. Epictetus' philosophy encourages a student to use the ways of logic and rationality to think and perceive the world as we know it. In doing so only can we be truly virtuous and reach the final goal of eudaimonia. He tells us to concern ourselves with only what is our own and leave the rest of it. Hope you have enjoyed watching the video. That was the philosophy of Epictetus. Do subscribe for more content like this.